Kevin?
Morning, Sully. How you doing today?
Hey, thanks for joining us. It's been a few weeks. Wanted to give you a little vacation there from all the high school basketball talk, but we're back at it. Give me some of your thoughts on the playoffs. We just mentioned Atlantic City versus Washington Township tonight in South Jersey Group 4 semis. That should be a pretty exciting game.
Yeah, we've had some games where there's been a huge disparity in the scoring, and we've had some games that have just absolutely come down to the final seconds. And that's what playoff basketball is all about. You want to have the cream of the crop rise to the top and get rid of those teams that are kind of the pretenders and show us who the contenders are. And that's clearly where we're at right now. And obviously, when you look at today, you look at that AC Washington Township game. Every game is special, but that may very well be the marquee game of the day. And that gym is going to be packed. 8:00 start, and I expect a game, another game that's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, Atlantic City went on a 19-0 second half run to get into that game, and they're a team that can do that. They can go on streaks like that, and they're going to be a tough out, I think, for Washington Township for sure.
Yeah, I think people will probably say AC is going to be the quicker team. AC is the more athletic team, but if you look at Washington Township, right now they set their school record for wins in a single season. They're playing tremendous basketball and really have played tremendous basketball all season. The 3 games that they lost to Eastern, which is going to be playing in the semifinal as well today against Cherokee in Group 4. They lost to Timber Creek, another team that was extremely solid all season. That was the upset at home last night by Winslow. And they lost to Camden, which is a team playing today in Group 2, looking to make its 4th straight sectional final. So, Washington Township is no joke, and I think people should really come to that game expecting to see, say, 2 teams battle. And, if AC finds itself down by 19 points or 20 points in this game, I don't see him coming back. So, I can't imagine Gene Allen letting his team, slip like that again. And like I said, I think you're going to see a really, really good basketball game.
I think the real key for Atlantic City is staying out of foul trouble. We've seen in some of the big games where a couple of guys get in foul trouble, and that really kind of shakes up their lineup a little bit and takes away a little bit of their offense sometimes when they do get into foul trouble. So I think that's one of the big challenges for Atlantic City is to not commit those cheap fouls, 40, 50 feet from the basket and just kind of, have as much composure as they can on defense.
Yeah, like you said, you can't have your big guns on the bench, and he's going to need Centino. He's going to need Lamar Thomas. He's going to need Ray Bethea on the floor against Washington Township. Atlantic City will look to take Spencer Cook out of the game, and that's no big secret. He's the big gun for Washington Township, a consistently strong basketball player all season long, and a kid who does not beat himself. Here's a kid who doesn't make mistakes. But the thing is with Washington Township, other kids have stepped up when that's happened, and then Spencer Cook finds himself loose. So, like you said, you got to keep your guys on the floor. You got to stay under control. And, just observing the playoffs now, when the tournament first started in the first round, a couple of games I saw, referees were calling everything. They were calling off-the-ball fouls. They were calling things that really they were technically fouls, but they were off the ball and really didn't have so much of a part of a play that you kind of wondered, why was that really a foul? But when you get to this stage of the game, you get to a semifinal, you get to the sectional finals, and especially when you start getting into the state semis and the finals, these games flow a lot more. And there's a lot more that you would say, man, that was a foul 2 weeks ago, but you know what? Tonight it's not a foul. So, you're going to see, I really think, you're going to see a game tonight where the officials are going to let the kids dictate the game and let them decide the game. In all actuality, we find from time to time you kind of sit there and think, these refs they're too much a part of the game. At this stage of the game, there's going to be some banging, there's going to be some clutching and some holding that is not going to get called. You have to adjust to it, and you have to be able to play, that kind of style in this time of year.
Yeah, hopefully they'll let him go a little bit. I mean, you saw in the Cape Atlantic League Championship game, St. Augustine shooting about 35 free throws, and it's just kind of crazy to me sometimes when you're calling little touch fouls, on the other side of the court from the basket that the team's shooting at. I mean, at some point you're like, come on, let these guys play a little bit. So hopefully they'll let it go a little bit, like you said, in the semis and championship games, and not get a key guy in foul trouble in the first quarter with stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly that's what it comes down to. I hate to harp on the zebras, but let's let the kids dictate. If it's a hard foul and it's an obvious foul, no problem. But some of this stuff off the ball and some of this stuff that really doesn't have an influence on a play at all, I think the whistle needs to stay in their mouth and not be blown.
Talking with Kevin Minnick of the Courier-Post. Kevin, a team that's really caught my eye, and maybe they didn't catch too many people's eyes when these tournaments first started, was fifth seed Winslow in South Jersey Group 3. I mean, they had a tough time with Ocean City, but you see the kind of talent they have with kids like Cubbage and Robinson. They really have a nice combination going on.
The thing with Winslow is they have tremendous size. They've got football players playing basketball. Devin Robinson, Elijah Campbell, Nazir Fields. These are kids that are 6'5", 6'6", 240, 250. Throw in a 6'9" kid and Manny Lowe, who's just athletic and is really starting to come in his own. Throw him in with Michael Cubbage, and there you go. And and last night, they're down 16 points to Timber Creek in Timber Creek's gym in the first quarter, and you're kind of saying to yourself, oh no, this could be a blowout. But to their credit, they never panicked, and they got back in the game. It becomes a 1-point game in the second quarter, and then as the second half unfolds, it's kind of going back and forth, and Timber Creek is still kind of holding the lead here and there, but Winslow keeps coming back. They keep coming back, and at the end of the game, Michael Cubbage, who's clearly one of the best players in South Jersey, the play at the end of the game with 9 seconds left was for him to attack the basket and create something. But being the basketball player that he is, as he began his attack, he felt the double team. He saw the double team. He hit his teammate Tyree Taylor in the corner, wide open, and the kid splashes a three, and they win the game by 3.
Wow.
So it was when Michael Cubbage brings to that team is not only the skill that he could score 25 or 30 a game, but he may have a game where he scores 8 or 10, but he's got 6 or 8 assists, and he just makes basketball plays. And that basketball play he made last night for them to win the game, clearly shows his level of talent.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him play against Ocean City, and he is just a tremendous basketball player. Even John Bruno, Ocean City coach, said after the game, because Ocean City was within 3 at halftime, and we just couldn't stop Cubbage. That's what it came down to, and slash into the basket, making things happen, and what an exciting player to watch.
Yeah, he really is, and there's a lot of players like him in South Jersey, but here's the time, like I said before, this is where the real contenders separate themselves, and it's also where the best basketball players on the best teams really show their talent. Michael Cubbage didn't score a point in the first half, but in the second half, he clearly was one of the difference makers for Winslow in that he can maintain his composure, he still played defense, and then he got the ball to the people in the right spots. His shots ultimately came. He hit 2 big 3-pointers late in the fourth quarter, and then he picks up probably the biggest assist of his career. So, obviously, they don't win that game if Michael Cubbage isn't out on the floor. And like I said, this is the time where your best players on your best teams will and should rise to the occasion.
I'll tell you one guy that comes to mind right off the top of my head is Sayid Nelson from St. Augustine, a guy we've been watching for the last couple of years now, and such a savvy basketball player. He knows just when to attack the basket, when to hold back and run some clock, when to get his teammates involved, when he needs to take over and take a big shot, and that's what a great matchup they're going to have against Christian Brothers Academy.
Yeah, they played him earlier in the season, I believe, and they won, but. With Sayid, here's a kid who had some difficulties towards the end of the season shooting the basketball a little bit from the outside, and I know at times he struggled at the foul line a little bit, but when probably the best high school basketball coach in the state, if not in the country, in Bob Hurley at St. Anthony, tells you that Sayid Nelson is the best point guard in the state of New Jersey, there's some that tells you all. I really think that tells you all you need to know about Sayid Nelson. So, obviously, the prep will go as Sayid goes. Another step in an A group that's just a disaster to get through every year. But they'll have to hit the road. They'll have to bring their A game, and Sayid will obviously not be able to do it all himself. But kids like Austin Kennedy and Justin Mutz, I think, have really elevated their game, and they're more than just role players for them. So, add that into the mix. Throw in Walter Harvey, throw in Marlon Hargis, throw Brandon Ulrich off the bench for the prep, and that's a nice 6-man rotation they have going. You can't argue with the success, but like I said, if they're to win or to get to a sectional final and or state final ultimately, Sayid Nelson has got to be the one to take them there.
Yeah, and you mentioned Justin Mutz. I mean, there was a little bit of uncertainty towards the middle of the season. Maybe there were some rumors that he might transfer out of there, but he's stuck with that team, and he's really a big difference maker. 6'7" there in the middle, and really has a knack for blocking shots. And what a combination that is when you have Nelson driving and to be able to draw the defense, dish it off to him for dunks, all kind of stuff, and he's really become a very well-rounded big man, for one of the best teams in South Jersey.
Yeah, the thing with Justin is he still needs to improve his perimeter game a little bit. He's not, I don't think shooting the jump shot from 15, 18 feet is his strength right now, and that's something he has to improve on if he wants to really play at a high level at the next level. But, you mentioned kind of the mess that revolved around him. When that went down, there was some serious thoughts. Was Justin Mutz going to play for the prep anymore? Was he going to transfer? Was he going? And when they decided he wasn't going to leave, was he going to come back to the team kind of with open arms? And if you look at what he's done since then, which was about the midpoint of the season, the kid has elevated his game to another level. And he doesn't necessarily need to score a lot of points to be an impact player, because where he makes his biggest difference is defensively in the paint. He entices players to attack the glass because he's going to go up and meet you and try to block your shot. And, I watched them in 2 consecutive games against Atlantic City and St. Anthony, and he had 16 blocks in those 2 games. So, the kid obviously has a defensive presence. He's elevated his game to another level. And when they need a big shot inside or a big rebound, he's been able to get it.
Good stuff. As always, Kevin, we're up against the break. Going to let you get going. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and have some fun here with the last couple days of the high school basketball season.
Yeah, we'll check out Camden and Pleasantville, or Camden and Woodstown this afternoon, and
nice.
Then obviously the big game tonight, AC at Washington Township.
Good stuff. You got a full day cut out for you, so we'll let you get to it. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks again. I appreciate it.
No problem. That was Kevin Minnick from the Courier-Post. Always does a great job with the high school basketball.